Hello. This is future Pigs and future Fergs. We're recording this a few days after, but we are saddened by the loss. It seems fitting to put it in this TNA episode. We are saddened by the loss of Don West. For people who don't know, Don West was the commentator and he was the shiller, basically. He was the guy who shilled a lot of TNA stuff. Like, that guy could sell you a brown bag and he could sell you out of your house. We are saddened by the loss of Don West. I don't know how he died. Probably Fergal could get it up.
Yeah, he obviously lost his battle with brain lymphoma, I believe, which is really sad. But by all accounts, he was fighting it till the end. So big ups. And the main thing really from everyone is his enthusiasm, and this is what Impact Wrestling wrote on Twitter. Don's enthusiasm and passion elevated every second he called and uplifted the spirits of everybody he crossed paths with. He'll be dearly missed. And that's, I couldn't sum it up better, honestly. The TNA wouldn't be TNA without him. And I know it sounds like hyperbolic, and, when someone dies, you tend to say that, you try and big someone up. But I think that's very fitting because he was the voice of TNA. Obviously, with Mike Tenay, they bounced off, and his enthusiasm for the product, his enthusiasm for the likes of AJ Styles, for Samoa Joe. Just go back and watch AJ Styles versus Daniels versus Joe. Obviously, the match is fantastic. The wrestlers in the ring are fantastic, but the commentary elevates it to another level, and you can tell his enthusiasm through watching it. And I'm sure you'd agree, Piggy.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. He's including, people say JR is the best competitor, and I know people will go, well, you're only saying this because he passed. But to me, honestly, I've said this on my post, I don't want to, but what I've said is a commentator is supposed to be like your friend in wrestling, or the person basically you are friends with, because they're the people who are basically giving you the action. You understand what they're saying. They're basically telling you why such and such is fighting such and such, why wrestler A and B are fighting wrestler C and D, or why A is fighting B. And no one has summarised that more than, in my opinion, Don West and Mike Tenay.
Absolutely.
Now, Mike Tenay not so much, but he's good in his own right with WCW. I think he was the best Mike Tenay was in WCW, and he was great with Don West in TNA. He will be dearly missed. There will be no TNA reunion without him. There isn't a TNA reunion without him. He is a key part of early TNA.
Absolutely. And he is, aside from being the voice of TNA, some legendary calls, more to kind of go back and watch, but Kurt Angle's debut in TNA where he headbutts Samoa Joe, oh my God, the emotion and the passion that Don West has for it, and the cage walk, Hurricane Rana from Triple X, Elix Skipper, just listening to Don West call that. He made TNA what it was in many ways, and he is the soundtrack of so many iconic moments. And no doubt it'll be missed. And just wanted to put that in front of this TNA review. Obviously, we recorded the TNA review before the sad news broke, but just wanted to big up Don West. And if you can watch any early TNA, just watch it for his calls alone. One of the best commentators ever to do it. He'll be missed.
He will be dearly missed. And now if he can put in a 10-bell salute, that would be nice.
Welcome to another episode of the Pigs and Fergs Wrestling Podcast. Woo! Say hello, Piggy. Are you excited? Are you excited for TNA Impact?
I am excited. I've never been this excited.
That is true enthusiasm right there. Now, we haven't touched Impact for quite a while, have we? This is episode 7 now, and it's not like we're just recording this episode right after Final Resolution, is it?
No.
Weren't those episodes we've done in between? Weren't those episodes we did in between? They were fantastic, weren't they?
They were. I hope hopefully they won't get us cancelled. Hopefully.
Absolutely not. I'm sure no one will say anything incriminating on those episodes or what have you. So, yeah, we're on episode 7 now, revisiting the TNA 2008. Obviously, for episode 2, way back, we reviewed Final Resolution 2008. This is the post-show for Final Resolution. In many ways, even more entertaining than the pay-per-view itself. But we'll get into why that is in just a moment. But, you know, we always start off these podcasts with what was going on the competition. So what was going on in the competition?
Well, what was going on January 7th, 2008, hailing from Mohegan Sun Casino, I probably butchered that.
Mohegan. Mohegan.
Mohegan, sorry. On Castleville, Connecticut, I probably butchered that as well. The previous episode was December 31st, 2007. The next episode is January 14th, but this is the January 7th episode. And what happened on the January 7th episode, I will tell you. Shawn Michaels and Mr. Kennedy, Trevor Murdoch and Charlie Haas in 4 minutes and 31 seconds. Hardcore Holly with Cody Rhodes defeated Carlito with Santino Marella in 3 minutes and 22 seconds. Ashley Mazzaro defeated Jillian Maria Molina Mickey James in a pillow fight in 3 minutes and 2 seconds. Triple H defeated William Regal in a first blood match in 5 minutes and 22 seconds. Chris Jericho defeated Gene Snitsky and John Bradshaw Layfield in a handicap match by DQ in 1 minute and 55 seconds. And Hornswoggle and Mick Foley defeated the Highlanders Robbie and Rory McAllister in a Royal Rumble qualifying tag team match in 3 minutes and 43 seconds.
What? Mick Foley and Hornswoggle?
Yeah, hold on, I'm not making this up, hold on.
This whole episode sounds like a fever dream. Was that the main event?
No, Jeff Hardy was the main event, but hold on.
Okay.
See, I'm not making it up. See, look, that's what the dirt sheet saying, brother.
Oh my god. Damn. How was TNA behind these guys?
I don't know. And Jeff Hardy defeated Umanga in a steel cage match in 14 minutes and 29 seconds.
Okay, so that match I remember. That match was really good. He did the whisper in the wind off the top of the cage. That was a really good moment.
You're not saying that the Highlanders, Robbie and the other fella were not good?
Which, we have to watch the episode where one of them turns up in the Impact Zone. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to watch that episode as well, because I think it must have been around this time where he got put in the doghouse for it. But yeah, apart from that main event, rubbish, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I think it was a 5-star classic.
Yeah, I mean, the team of Foley and Hornswoggle, it's a shame they didn't get the tag team championships, but nevertheless, it is what it is. In terms of video game stuff, we can go on to next. I know that last time we talked about SmackDown vs. Raw 2008, which would have been around this time, but since we're talking about TNA, why don't we talk about the TNA video game, which was actually in development at this time. It was going to be released later on this year. So, you know, any TNA Impact video game news?
There's no news. The development is going well on the game. At the moment, they had to remove 2 superstars from the game, because originally the game was supposed to come out in 2006, but it got delayed. It was supposed to come out in 2005 as well, I think, and it got delayed. And then it was supposed to come out in 2007. And you guessed it. What happened?
Got delayed.
Yeah. You didn't sound very enthusiastic there.
I'm sorry. Got delayed.
Yay!
Well, not yay. Well, actually, I would say yay, because I think the fact that it got delayed means that we've got more talent in the game. But out of curiosity, do you know who was taken out?
Jeff Hardy and Monty Brown.
Oh, no! Sorry, that was a visceral reaction there. We could have Monty Brown and Jeff Hardy in the TNA game. That would have been sick. Oh.
Yeah, it would have been.
Never mind. That's put me in a bad mood now. Could have had that. Anyway, so the game's going well. But at least we get Kurt Angle in it, and we get Sting and Christian and Booker in that game eventually when it does come out. So good news there.
And Don West.
And Don West, of course. Were they playable characters?
Don West is a playable character.
Oh, that's awesome. Now I'll have to play that game again.
No, he's DLC, so
DLC?
you have to get a game pack.
Never mind. It's just one disappointment after another. Oh well, I want to win the career mode as Don West. That's that for TNA Impact news. What about the merchandise in terms of wrestling figures? Now, again, we did talk about the wrestling figures in the last TNA bit that we did. So we can talk about the actual TNA specific Marvel figures, because, you know, I don't know when we'll get a chance to talk about them again. Give us your thoughts on the TNA Marvel figures, because they would have been around this time. Like, they would soon go on to Jax, but Marvel was the most recent, I believe, at this time, wasn't it?
Marvel finished up their deal because they were bought out by Hasbro. And to me, I still think it's one of the biggest missteps in wrestling figure history, the fact that they did not, Hasbro refused to make the TNA figures. So I think had they made them, it would have been one of the greatest lines ever.
Oh my
But
God.
TNA Marvel unfortunately came to an screeching halt in 2007. They started in 2005. They had the likes of Jeff Jarrett, Shark Boy, Jeff Hardy. Like they had all the notable names, and unlike Mattel figures until recently, they had double jointed arms, and some had butterfly jointed arms. So they had butterfly joints and double jointed arms. Mattel Elites don't even have that.
Yeah. That is, like, again, like you said, you know the Joe, the Toy Biz Joe, one of the best figures ever made, isn't it? I know W3A Fed uses it a lot as well. It's just because it's I know a lot of people actually do use it, but it's a solid figure. But yeah, it's a real shame they couldn't continue that line, because like there's some really solid ones in there. Like, again, like a lot of toyetic wrestlers as well, like Shark Boy, like Jeff Hardy. And I know Jeff Jarrett has gone on record as saying that a part of the reason they had the 6-sided ring was to appeal to the likes of Hasbro for, marketing purposes, selling the toy, isn't it?
Yeah, that was the main reason. And then Hogan came in and went, "That doesn't work for me, brother. I can't take a bump in a 6-sided ring."
You shouldn't be taking a bump in a 4-sided ring at that point, but, I'll save my TNA hate for another day. I'm sure we'll get to it. I know you hate him, or hate that era of TNA anyway, but yeah, we'll get to that in time. But if you could pick one Marvel figure to own that you've not got, maybe, what one would you choose?
See, I'd have to go for the unreleased, because there was a Curryman animated figure that was supposed to come out before it got bought.
Oh,
and I
no.
just want,
That sounds awesome.
I just want a Curryman official figure. Please, Jazzwares, give us an official Curryman figure. You have Christopher Daniels on the books. You can make Curryman possible.
Curryman could come back to AEW, you never know.
Don't spoil next week Dynamite, because Tony Khan's on coke. We might do that.
I'm sure it's the big storyline heading into Revolution, probably. Yeah, never mind. All right, we'll keep hush-hush on that. But yeah, I surprisingly do not own any of the Marvel TNA figures. They completely passed me by back in the day. I don't think they were really readily available in the UK as much. So yeah, I never really had that much of an experience with them. But from what I've seen, like I definitely, I wouldn't mind picking up maybe. There's got to be Motor City Machine Guns ones, haven't they? I might pick up some of them at some point. I'd like to.
They have Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley from their singles runs. They're great. When I was a kid, I was always annoyed by the fact that the NLW person, I don't know if you know this guy, he used to do stop motion.
Yeah, whoever he is, yeah.
This guy used to do stop motion. And he would have this massive AJ Styles, and I was like, there's a TNA Marvel figure in scale that he could use. And it always annoyed me that this stop motion YouTuber never brought in that Styles. He had to use the big gigantic one.
What an idiot. But I think in their defense, probably had no idea about the Marvel figures and were just pissing about probably. But I like that.
Yeah, but in my defense, they could have just did some research.
We know NLW's lazy. Sorry, I'm not having any NLW slander on this channel. Follow them. They're great.
Yeah, they're great. Yeah, it's the NLW is totally not in this call at the moment.
Absolutely not. We're two completely separate people. I'm Fergal, remember? I ain't NLW. I talk about TNA and give out.
And you talk about Santa getting hit by a car. Watch your previous episodes.
I did. Infamous episode. Made me feel very festive. But, we feel festive here because TNA, the gift of TNA keeps on giving, doesn't it? If we start off the show now, we get a package from Final Resolution, and the first thing we get is Crystal catching up with Robert Roode. Obviously, he punched Sharmell at the pay-per-view. He punched Booker T's wife right in the face. It was by accident, but he still won't take responsibility for it. He'll turn the blame on Booker and says it's what she deserved, even though it was an accident. He says shit happens, it's pro wrestling. So he's facing Miss Brooks tonight, and my question is, who okayed this?
I don't know. Whoever Vince Russo. I bet it was Vince Russo.
Well, yeah, in kayfabe, not in kayfabe even. But isn't Jim Cornette the guy in charge? Why have they got a graphic made for Robert Roode versus Miss Brooks?
Vince Russo.
Vince Russo just hates women.
Allegedly.
Although, in the main event tonight, Gail Kim versus Awesome Kong for the Knockouts Championship. First ever TNA main event for the Knockouts. That's something to look forward to. And also, I'm pretty sure I mentioned it last time, I love this TNA entrance, this intro with the, I don't know what you call it, but the one where AJ Styles is getting thrown off of all sorts, and it smashes the screen and then like the big impact. What do you think about it?
I absolutely love the intro.
It was the one where like an earlier version of this had Monty Brown hit the pounce and do the taunt towards the end as well. So that's kind of what it's infamous for. And, you know, all the Ultimate X shots as well is really cool. Speaking of the X Division, we get an X Division matchup to kick off the show. Great way to start, because we've got Senshi and Elite Skipper of formerly Triple X taking on the Motor City Machine Guns. They're still sore from Ultimate X, but they don't really make mention of it in this one. But I love this match. I thought it was really good. Really fun way to start the show.
Yeah. I thought it was. I think it was a good opener match. It might have been the best match of the night.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Oh wait, hang on. Was it? Yeah, I would say so. It only went like 4 minutes, but it felt.
Yeah, it flew by.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. I would have taken more happily. You know, I wasn't too sure about. Well, actually, no, I wasn't too sure about them going so short. I think it could have gone longer. But I suppose they want to put over Sabin and Shelley Big, don't they? After losing at the pay-per-view, so it's understandable.
Yeah, it's very understandable, but I wish it went longer.
Yeah, you know Senshi's. What do you think about Senshi's kick, where he does the backflip into the kick on the top rope? That's got to be like one of the smoothest moves in wrestling.
It has to be, but it's a shame. It's a shame that Senshi's an asshole in real life. So
allegedly,
I'm pretty sour on him.
Actually, no, that's not allegedly, is it? That's not allegedly. That's a fact.
Yeah, he's a sorry.
I will. What's the timestamp? Timestamp it, Piggy. 14 minutes. I got to bleep that out now. Damn it. But yeah. No, what you meant to say was he's not a very nice man. Crisp as hell, for better or for worse. So cool intro, and then you might have been happy about this because he gets jobbed out, doesn't he, by Christian?
Yeah, he gets absolutely flattened by Christian. And
gets flattened by Christian in the most 2000s outfit I've ever seen.
Yeah, I posted a screenshot of it because it's absolutely mental. It's just Christian wearing a black jumper, I believe, and a black shirt over it.
It's the classic short sleeve shirt and a long sleeve shirt and a short sleeve shirt.
Yeah.
It was of the time. I don't think I see anybody doing that these days.
No, Christian doesn't do it anymore, sadly.
No, it was a good look though. Was it? I don't know. His hair was even 2000s, peak 2000s.
It was.
I hate that it's now, like that is a point of nostalgia, because at the time it just felt, well, that's just how you dress. And now it looks dated. I'm worried for the future that what we're wearing now is going to look dated, but I suppose it always does, doesn't it? It's kind of a lesson in nostalgia there. But we can go on and on about Christian's outfits, Christian's best outfits, I'm sure.
And we will. I don't know.
That's a conversation for another day. But Christian Cage is out here, takes care of Elite Skipper and Senshi, and then says, AJ, we got a problem. We need to work it out. He can live with AJ not wanting to be associated with Christian, but hates the fact that AJ cost him the championship. Of course, AJ Styles, the previous night, had betrayed Christian Cage and sided with Kurt Angle, and now tonight, AJ is going to be coronated as Prince AJ by Kurt Angle. But Cage says he gave AJ everything in the business, and tonight he's going to take it back. And speaking of angry men, Jim Cornette is here, and he is furious, isn't he?
He is furious with Chris Harris.
Knock knock.
Yeah, knock knock himself.
6 months before Braden Walker happens, they must know he's out of the company, because he is not very much... I would say this is the closest thing to a burial you can get, isn't it?
Yeah, this is pretty much very close to a burial.
You know he's on the way out, and Cornette, and this is another screenshot, literally, any of these, there's so many points in this show. Christian's outfit, Nash that we'll get to later, and Jim Cornette hanging himself with his own tie because he can't stand to talk to Chris Harris for more than 3 seconds. It's very funny in a strange sort of way. But then Harris is really annoying, and Cornette says, yeah, fine, go and face Macias. And he says if he makes it back, he'll commit national TV. Jesus Christ. It goes... I
believe that... imagine... I mean, the world might have been a happier place Not if he came in, but if Chris Harris came back there, yeah, would Jim Cornette and kayfabe shoot himself for an angle?
That'd be an interesting angle.
These kids these days don't know how to wrestle. Back in my day, we knew how to wrestle. I tell you that much. We knew how to get heat back then, boys. You don't know how to get heat, boys. You don't know what real wrestling is.
More racial slurs is probably what he would go for, but just sticks
More
to
homophobic slurs.
Yeah, just sticks to saying he'll kill himself if he has to talk to Harris anymore, which is more of a burial than anything I can think of. But we'll talk about as well what happened earlier tonight. Jeremy Borash, AJ Styles, Kurt Angle and Karen, they all arrived. And JB is their personal helper, I guess, still. And he says he's going to coronate AJ into the Angle Alliance tonight. And he's going to be Prince AJ Styles. And it's funny because they make JB get the bags. They make him open the door for Kurt Angle. It's quite amusing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very amusing. I love how AJ and Jeremy have a fight over who opens the door for Karen. And then Curtis just starts coughing. It's like, who's opening the door for me?
He is the real princess. He is the real person that they should be looking after. He's the champ.
He's the champ that runs the camp.
Exactly. You know, some people might point to this and say AJ Styles is looking too goofy. What would you say to that?
I would say not, because I think this brings more of AJ's personality out that wasn't really shown beforehand.
Yeah, he did feel like kind of a one-note, one-dimensional character before, and I think now he's got, like, I suppose TNA 2007, he really came into his own as a character, and I don't care if it's goofy because he's still having good matches, so it's, you know, it's a moot point really, isn't it?
Yeah.
So they cut back to them backstage, and again, any segment, this is like the Angle and AJ show basically tonight, and it's very entertaining to watch. They say that Cage is going after AJ Styles, and AJ is just biting his nails, and he's already regretting his decisions because he's asking JB, like, what am I going to do? And he says, don't ask me, ask Kurt. So he says, I don't want to get crippled tonight, and Kurt says, yeah, just don't worry. Just get ready for the coronation. And then AJ's asking Karen what he needs to do, and says, you know, he doesn't want to be killed by Christian. So Karen just says, you know, don't worry, just fix your hair, put your tux on, and you know, hide from Christian. And then we get a hilarious bunch of segments where AJ and Jeremy Borash are trying to hide throughout the night. What would you have done if you were AJ Styles in that situation? You had Christian Cage coming after you.
I would get him to sign an autograph.
Yeah, but he's not going to sign your autograph. He's going to beat you up because you betrayed him.
I would ask Kurt to protect me.
I think Kurt's got his own issues going on though. You know, AJ Styles, I don't know if he's thought this through, and I think Tomko knows this because he comes into the room. AJ hugs him. He's glad to see him, but yeah, Tomko just says, mate, I do like the dynamic between AJ and Tomko because even though they're the tag team champions, you get the sense of like a big brother, little brother type dynamic with them, which I think is quite cool.
Yeah, I honestly think that's cool.
I do like that Tomko has his own issues going on aside from the AJ stuff, and they come together for the tag team when they need to do, but they're very individual characters. And I don't know, that might be a controversial opinion, but I like that quite a bit, that dynamic, where you can have, I think similar thing happened when the Big Show and Kane were World Tag Team Champions back in 2006, I want to say, and Big Show was feuding with Triple H while Kane was trying to go after the title, but they were both tag team champions, but they were kind of doing their separate thing, but when they needed to, they'd come together. I wish there was more of that. So,
yeah, I wish there was more there.
So we got our next matchup. It's Judas Macias versus Chris Harris. Yeah, not really a lot to say about this one. Harris is done, gets beaten, misted, and loses. Goodbye, Chris Harris. And I don't know how long he sticks around after this. I'm pretty sure he's there for a couple more weeks, but it really feels like they're dragging out this burial.
Oh yeah, it really does feel like it.
It's kind of sad, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of sad, but I don't know how to explain it. I just think Vince Russo did not like Chris Harris.
There must have been something. He's done. But again, it just feels like there was so much they could have done after that America's Most Wanted stuff broke up. Like, it's a shame it became the Mighty Jannetty of the team, because I know a lot of people probably thought around the time he was going to be the next big thing, but it's all right. The main takeaway from this match, though, is that Abyss is secret. Jim Mitchell says that will be revealed next week. So, yeah, just something to get that angle over. Next up, we've also got Crystal with Miss Brooks. Crystal's worried about her. You know, she says that she can't get into the ring with Rude. You know, he's a big, strong man. But Brooks, even though she's petrified, she can't hide, can't allow him to win. She's not weak or scared. She knows she's got to go to the ring and face that son of a bitch. So, you know, decent promo. What do you think of it?
It was a good promo. If she's standing up for herself, she's going to she's gonna knock him out with her fake wabos. But
I like how they're given characters. It's base level characters, but it's still something. I think the women in TNA, they're given taken seriously to an extent. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Not as serious as they should be taken, but still more so than they would be in WWE, is what I mean. So we get a video package for Kong versus Kim, and by the way, throughout the night we're getting information from the likes of Kurt Angle, Black Machismo as well, who I know he called them Wendy Richter and Moolah, which is quite funny. Just hyping up the match, really. The next match on the card is the VKM, Voodoo King Mafia, so that's Kip and BG James, aka the New Age Outlaws, with Roxy Laveau taking on Pete Williams, who is absolutely shredded.
Yeah, he's absolutely shredded.
This is Little Petey Pump, isn't it, around this time?
I think so. Or it's the start of Little Petey Pump.
Yeah, because I know, well, we'll talk about it in this match, but Sanjay Dutt is also there. Kip isn't wearing his sexy pants anymore. He's sad.
Oh, sexy pants, Kip. Oh.
Yeah, never mind. That is in reference to the first episode where he was wearing a very skimpy tights. Pete Williams, though, Jesus. I can't stop looking at him. I want to grate cheese on his abs, I've stunned you into silence. It's alright, but anyway, I'll keep my Pete Williams fantasies to myself, because, Jesus Christ. I'm not, it's not even like...
It's okay to be open in 2022. That just caught me off guard.
Yeah, it's not like a sexual thing. It's just like a Jesus. The state. When I say state, I mean like the actual just tone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm going way too deep on this. Anyway, so we've got Sanjay and Petey. They work well as a team. This match goes on for quite a while, though, in my opinion. Some back and forth. The main story about this one is Kip and BG. They're kind of not getting along at the moment. We'll just call them Billy Gunn and Road Dogg. It's easier. So Billy Gunn wants to be Road Dogg's partner for this tag team title match they've got. Road Dogg hasn't made a decision yet. And elsewhere, a wild Scott Steiner appears. Were you expecting this?
I was not expecting a wild Scott Steiner to appear.
And not only does he run down to the ring to switch the briefcases with Petey Williams. By the way, Petey's taken Scott's briefcase for a world title match. Which I think Scott's not too happy about. So he runs down to the ring and tiptoes away like a cartoon villain, stealing the briefcase. And I shit you not, that's exactly what happens. He tiptoes down to the ring and like a sneaky little he runs off with it. And it just feels, it's weird. He doesn't cut like a promo or anything. He just takes it and then sneaks away. And it's like a pantomime crowd where they're going, Petey. So when he finds out, he's furious. He goes to the back and that leaves Sanjay all alone. So you think naturally, New Age Outlaws, they're going to win. But psych, Kip James and BG, they're arguing, and that allows Dutt to roll up Kip for the win. What do you think of the match?
Again, it was an alright match. The Scott Steiner bit was just hilarious.
But again, like I was saying, we haven't even got to the Kevin Nash yet. Jeez. But that was another thumbnail I wanted to use, was Scott Steiner tiptoeing away from the action, stealing the briefcase like a little villain. After the match, BG wants to know whether... Kip wants to know whether BG is going to choose him as partner or not, so we'll have to wait and see if he actually does that. And next, we have Crystal asking Cage what he's going to do to AJ when he finds him, and Cage just kind of runs off. He's furious, and where's AJ, Piggy? AJ
is hiding in a box with Jeremy Borash and the camera crew.
Yeah, so Christian doesn't see him, but they're hiding under the table, and then we get Eric Young as well coming in and says, if you want to go hide, it'd probably be better to go to Universal Studios. I really wish TNA actually did more stuff in Universal Studios.
Yeah.
Like on-set stuff. Like, I know this is pre Hardy Boys cinematic match type stuff, but I feel like they could have done so much in those studios that, yeah.
I agree.
So AJ doesn't want to be a target. He says he's going to go and hide, and Eric Young is an idiot, so he stays behind. But at least he's recovered from that beer drinking contest at the pay-per-view. You get a video package of Team 3D in the X Division. And next up, it's a promo segment from the Dudley Boys, and they want a hardcore street fight. And they say if the X Division guys win, they give back the title. But if 3D and Divine win, the X Division goes away forever. Ooh, I mean, spoiler alert. I don't think that's going to happen, and that'd be a ridiculous decision. I think Russo who wanted to get rid of the X Division?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, Lord knows why. It was the main draw of the company for a while. So yeah, it looks like this feud will end soon with a hardcore street fight. So yeah, I mean, it would be interesting to watch that. So next up, another killer segment. We got Crystal and security following Joe because he's trying to find Kevin Nash, and Joe's like, "Oh, I'm going to fight this guy," and then Nash just turns around. He's got a baseball bat in his hand. Talk us through this because I know you're a fan of this segment.
So Samoa Joe is like, "I'm going to beat the crap out of Nash," and then Nash is looking at the wall holding a baseball bat. Somehow he knows Samoa Joe is there. Somehow he can sense Joe, and he's just turning around and he's holding a bat, and he's like, "Don't make me do it, man. I'll hit you, man. I'm only looking out for you, man." And he's holding this bat, and you can tell it's the most batshit promo because he's just holding the bat, and he's like, "I'm looking out for you, man." And then Joe's like, "I'm gonna hit you." And he's like, "Go on, hit me." And he hands him the bat, and he's like, "Go on, hit me, Joe. Hit me. I'm not afraid of you. Hit me." And then Joe doesn't hit him.
He just walks away, and the best part of this was, like, Nash wasn't even, like, mad, per se. He was just like, "I ain't working for free. I ain't having a fight for free. If you want to fight me, let's get paid for it." And it's like, that is a smart man. He is the smartest man in wrestling.
After all, you did see his Nash graph, didn't you? Where he was the highest paid WWF champion in history.
Oh, we have to watch that episode. We have to watch that episode. Austin Rock, no numbers, and then through the roof, numbers went up for Diesel. Earlier this week, though, in a more somber note, Booker T is at the hospital. He said that Charmel's got a shattered jaw after she got punched in the face by Bobby Roode. Booker blames him.
It was just a punch.
It wasn't just a punch, no. Socked her, flew across the ring, and...
Get over it. Have a bacon sandwich, you'll be alright.
Yeah, well, she can't chew bacon, she's got to put it in a blender now, because Bobby Roode's messed her jaw up all bad.
He only hit her a small bit. He didn't full on...
Oh, nah, I would say...
O.J. Simpson her. He just gave her a little dig to the face, a little...
I don't think it was even a dig. We watched it and I was like, oh damn! I had to rewind it because I was like, oh shit! That was at least in a real sense. In a kayfabe sense, though, she went flying. That was a bad hit. But she's a tough cookie, I'm sure. But now Booker T, he's mad. He's mad big time. So he's vowing revenge on Robert Roode. And speaking of Robert Roode, he's taking on Miss Brooks up next because apparently nobody stopped this match yet. So Roode is just like, he doesn't care. Boo-hoo to what Booker said. He should thank Roode because now she can lose some weight. Oh, boo. Boo. Calling women skanks. Boo this man.
Boo.
Yeah. We kind of mentioned it in the Final Resolution review, but just kind of briefly talk about what your thoughts are on this angle. Misogyny in wrestling for heat. What's your opinion on it? Where does it cross the line, in your opinion?
Where does it cross the line? It depends because it's a very narrow line that you're walking. Either walk a straight line or a very narrow line, and TNA were walking that narrow line.
Yeah, I think you can definitely push the envelope if they're the baddies. Because sometimes in wrestling, it's the other way around, you know what I mean? Granted, the Dixie Carter storyline, where they were going to put her through a table, understandably, she was a bad guy, but I don't know if the main blow-off was for a man to drive her through a table, drive like a middle-aged woman through a table, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I kind of get it. This one, though, it's fine. I think, I don't want to say the heart's in the right place. There's no heart in this, but I think that Jim Cornette makes it clear that, this kind of thing won't be tolerated. So, Miss Brooks does stand up for herself before this, though, standing up to herself. Cornette says he's not allowed to touch Brooks. They're going to protect her from this abuse of power. He said he should suspend him, but instead he won't. He actually says he should have run him over with a truck. But, Jim Cornette's a hothead tonight, as if he's not every night. He wants to see when Booker comes back to take him apart. And he says that Tracy can be escorted to the back and Bobby won't hurt her anymore. But psych, because Tracy gets attacked by the mystery fan. Similar angle to the Shelly Martinez thing, actually. And lays the boots to Brooks on the ramp, and then a chair shot to her leg. So they chase off Cornette, and it's who is it? Miss Banks. That's her name. Has she really been any high-profile stuff other than this?
I don't think so.
This felt like the only angle she'd ever been in, because I was like, who? I don't know who it was.
Yeah, I think this is the only angle she's ever been in.
Just as like a valet, so to speak. So yeah, now Roode has a new assistant. So now Miss Brooks is... I don't know what Miss Brooks does after this, you know? Like, what her role is, because if she's like a valet, who is she what does she do after this, you know?
I can't remember what she does.
Like backstage work and stuff like that. But yeah. Next up, we're in Universal Studios. You know, AJ Styles is a master of disguise. So he could literally be anywhere. He's in there somewhere. He's in that park. But, yeah. Were you able to spot out AJ Styles?
No, I wasn't. Until I seen him come over to JB and he's like, "Hello, JB. It's me, AJ."
He literally says, "Yeah, it's me. It's AJ." He's so... I love his goofiness. I love it. And, yeah, and JB's like, "Karen wants you back. She's waiting in the men's room for you." Again, like she was waiting in the men's room at Final Resolution as well. Fun segment. I wish they did more in the park though.
Oh yeah, I totally wish. I did love to see them like being in different sets.
Or even on the rides. If he was like hiding in one of the rides, I would have loved to seen Christian just like try and chase him there. But I suppose they wanted to. You know, there's only so much time. I could have watched a whole episode of Impact if it was just AJ being chased by Christian.
I could have as well.
Yeah. So we've got a rematch from the pay-per-view. It's LAX versus the Rock and Rave Connection. So Shelly Martinez, she's been called Selena in this show. Christy Hemi's not there tonight. And this one is even less going on in this one, I think, than the one at the pay-per-view. Literally can't really talk about it. What do you think about this match?
Nothing. Hernandez moves like a cruiserweight. And then, of course, he has the border. I don't think he hits the border toss in this match, does he? But
no, it's the Gringo Killer in this one. That's what because I think I said Jimmy Rave got smashed with the border toss in the last one. I think this is the one where I was like, oh my god, like the Gringo Killer, the finisher on Rave. Like when you saw it, what was your reaction?
I was like, oh sugar, it's the Gringo Killer.
It was. Because it's like the Vertebreaker, isn't it? But it's not quite. The way he follows through with it, doesn't he? So there's no pause to say, "Are you ready?" He just picks you up and drops you. Is it the most dangerous move in wrestling?
The pile driver has to be one of the most dangerous moves.
I know, but this is like a pile driver, but you can't see what you're doing with the guy behind you.
Then I guess it is one of the most dangerous moves.
Because at least when you've got a pile driver, you can see where the head is. Like you can't see where their head is behind, but I suppose at least they can tuck their head if they need to. It was fine, but there wasn't anything really going on here, like storyline wise. We've got Crystal with Tomko, says that AJ's on his own, he needs to look out for himself, and says that AJ has a little crush on Karen Angle. So, or maybe he's got a crush on Kurt. You know, each to their own. But after that, Tomko's facing Shark Boy. Shark Boy is not in a good way, is he?
Shark Boy is not in a good way, no. This is before Shark Boy Steve Austin. My favourite Shark Boy. Yeah,
it was only a few weeks, I want to say. Apparently they spent like $50,000 or something on a set for that segment with Shark Boy. I know the Deadlock Boys already covered it, so probably we won't be able to, but I'd love to just watch it independently, because there was a great segment when he becomes Shark Boy Steve Austin. He's in a bad way, and Tomko, no sympathy, picks him up. Not really much to say. What did you think?
It was a nothing match, basically.
They bring out the stretcher for him, and then AJ's back in the arena, meets with Karen in the bathroom. AJ ties her dress up. You know, AJ's horny, JB's horny. Karen is just like sick of JB. Karen says AJ needs to step up and be a man, very all sexy like, you know, using her womanly ways. And so Kurt knows nothing about this, and says, AJ, you need to face your fears, and you fly. Saw AJ fly like an eagle, and then AJ is like, yeah, and then Karen just kind of rolls her eyes. But what did you think of Karen Angle? What do you think of Karen Angle as a character? Because we haven't really talked about it like too much.
Well, even though there's been 6 episodes between the pay-per-view and this, Karen Angle is an interesting character. Like, going back and watching it after watching Raw, it's very weird seeing Karen Angle and then you see the likes of Vicky Guerrero and stuff like that, or AJ Lee, because it's very weird looking at AJ Lee and you look at Karen Angle. It's like 2 different things. Yeah. Like Karen Angle, I see the similarities between Karen Angle and Vicky Guerrero, but I think that Karen Angle is less. Vicky Guerrero works in small doses, but I think it can be quite overbearing. Whereas Karen Angle, I think she gets it a little bit more in terms of comedy and stuff like that. She's it's got a more well-rounded character in my view.
Yeah, because again, it's like both characters happening at the same time, at like kind of their peak, really. Well, not for Karen Angle. I think she'll go on to do more later on. We have to watch one of them 2011 pay-per-views where we've got Double MA Jeff Jarrett, where he's tapping out kids in the dojo.
The dojo.
Main Event Mafia, anything. I'm getting ideas for future episodes now, guys. AJ's coronation is up next. Kurt, Karen, and AJ all in the ring. He has been christened Prince AJ Styles. What were your favourite parts of this segment? Bearing in mind also, Kurt. The main overarching thing of this is Kurt Angle is like just kind of hyping up the fact that AJ, you did something dirty to Christian. You double crossed him, and AJ's like, please don't make him mad. Kind of reel it in a little bit. So that's quite funny. And then Christian comes to the ring and kind of mocks AJ as they chant Princess AJ. And Samoa Joe comes out as well, and is basically, they both challenge him, and then Jim Cornette comes out and makes a triple threat match. I'm sorry if I skimmed over that, but it was quite a long segment, but one of my favourite segments of the night.
It was a very good segment. I think it was one of the best segments of the night. It's up there with the Mummy segment they had. My favourite bit is just looking at JB and then looking at Kurt Angle, like the little sudden movement, like I don't want to say movements, but like there's certain things that Angle did that just made me laugh. Because he's an all-around comedic, he's a great comedic genius at this time. Yeah,
and I like AJ's little expressions where he looks like a little boy when he's all chuffed on the throne. He's like, "Yeah, I'm Prince AJ," and he's got a little smile. And when Kurt Angle's kind of like hyping up the fact that like, "Oh yeah, you really lolled Christian, you really double crossed Christian, didn't you?" And he's like, "Yeah, but please don't mention it because it'll kick my ass." So yeah, that's a fun match for next week. Joe, Cage, and AJ. So we'll have to wait and see who will be the number one contender. And now it is the main event. The TNA Knockouts Championship. It's a rematch from Final Resolution, which was one of the best matches on that show. It's Gail Kim and Awesome Kong with a mystery woman, and this mystery woman is actually, what was her name in TNA?
I forget, but who is it?
I think it was the person under the mask is cheerleader Melissa, but is it Raish? I'm gonna have to type it. Awesome Kong. So if you want to like talk about your favorite parts of this match, because there was some interesting stuff. It's had a lot of similarities with the one that we've just watched.
It's again a good match. It's basically Awesome Kong just battering Gail Kim and Gail Kim trying to fight back. It's quite literally David versus Goliath kind of match. It's Gail Kim getting bet up by Awesome Kong. Awesome Kong absolutely destroying her. Like they fight on the ramp at one stage. I believe Awesome Kong goes through the stage off the side. She has Gail Kim there and she was going to put Gail Kim through the stage. Gail Kim moves out of the way and she goes through the stage. And they keep brawling into the ring. It was basically just a beatdown, and Awesome Kong just beats up Gail Kim.
Yeah, if I could compare it to anything, it would be the first part was a lot more back and forth than the latter part, because the ending reminded me a lot of Cena versus Lesnar. You know, when Lesnar squashed Cena at SummerSlam?
Yeah.
Because there was a point where I was like, oh, well, Gail Kim, she'll make a comeback. But Awesome Kong, yeah, like early on when they were fighting in the crowd and when Awesome Kong went through the stage, that was a cool moment. But then, the spinning back fist to Gail, I was like, oh, she'll get up after this. And then another one, and I'm like, oh, she'll get up after this. And then she got power bombed, and I was like, oh no, she'll be okay. And then another one, and she keeps delivering forearms, but it's just not enough. And Kim Kong, even, I'm getting my words mixed up. Raisha Saeed is, by the way, the name of the woman with her. So the power bomb by Kong, and then another power bomb, and I'm like, oh. And then 1, 2, 3, and now she wins. She wins, and she's the new Knockouts champion in 9 minutes. And it was a very compelling match. I mean, it wasn't as good as the one at the pay-per-view, but I still feel like it had enough in it to make it an interesting contest. What did you think about this?
I honestly enjoyed the match. It was my second favourite match of the show. The first being Motor City Machine Guns versus Triple X, but I really enjoyed the match. It was like Punk versus Lesnar. in 2013 or Cena versus Lesnar in 2014. It was just a good all-around match.
They have a very good back and forth chemistry with each other in terms of it's the classic wrestling trope of the big evil villain and the small underdog, really. And you can argue why wouldn't they just do the title switch on the pay-per-view, but I think that this was the right call, because to have Gail win by the skin of her teeth at the pay-per-view was interesting, because it shows you that Gail can do it, but more often than not, Kong will come out on top, and I like that she won this match here on Impact. Yeah, overall, I enjoyed this Impact episode a lot more than I enjoyed the go home to Final Resolution, just because it had so many different storyline threads, and the wrestling wasn't really the main part of this, although the main event I did enjoy, as well as the opener. I did like so many memeable moments, like AJ's chase from Christian Cage, the Prince AJ ceremony, Kevin Nash with a bat, Scott Steiner running in like a little cartoon villain and taking the briefcase, all like fantastic stuff. And again, like this episode flies by. Like I was watching it last night, and it just literally went by in the blink of an eye. It's so enjoyable to watch. I don't know if if I'm to watch more Impact that it won't be that way, but like it feels like it's paced in such a, it's quite a rapid, they call it an adrenaline rush. We got the closing wrap-up video, the adrenaline rush video, which is sick. What are your thoughts on this show?
My thoughts on the show was it was a pretty good show. Nash with a baseball bat really elevated it to me.
Yes, of course.
Like it was a pretty good show. Like it was better than the go-home show that they had. I think that might be because of AJ and Nash, but that's just me. And
just like more skits backstage. I'd love backstage skits. I wish they'd be used more in wrestling today. More off-site stuff as well, like the stuff we saw in Universal Studios here. Like there's so much to talk about with this one, and this is like the perfect TNA episode in many ways, because it highlights the best and the worst, but not the worst in like, oh, this is terrible to watch. Just like, oh, I don't want to watch this. No, I don't want to watch this. It's just like, oh, this is goofy. This is funny. I like this. They did humour really well, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
It wasn't too forced. Which sometimes it can be. Yeah, that dynamic is great. I would love to watch more TNA 2008, and I'm sure we will get round to watching more TNA 2008. But yeah, any closing thoughts on this?
No closing thoughts. I hope you enjoyed our previous 6 episodes. And I'm not just saying that because we're recording episode 7 now.
Yeah, no, of course not. We have definitely done those episodes, haven't we? Yeah,
we definitely have. I hope you enjoyed them. I hope you enjoyed listening to our dulcet tones of me, Piggy, and Fergal.
I'll tell you what, I'll snap my fingers. And then the outro music will come in. I'll put it in post, don't worry. So thank you everyone for listening. Again, subscribe for more. Thank you for listening to Pigs and Fergs.